What's up guys, Jaden Irwin here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is part 5 of the Sapling crash course, so if you're following along, go ahead and join in. If you need to catch up, that's totally fine too. On this part, what we're going to talk about is the syntax highlighting that's built into Sapling's markdown rendering. So if you're using Sapling to build a developer blog, this is super useful for all those code blocks that you're going to write in your blog posts. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. What I've done already is tweaked our thoughts on Sapling blog post that we had in the last video and added some demo. I had the AI write some demo content for us based on Sapling's documentation, and then I added in some code blocks so we can see the code blocks working. So let's just go to our slug. So we're going to go to pages, blog, slug. And if we open this up on the actual page for that post, thoughts on Sapling, we're going to get this error. And if we go to our server, is actually throwing an error saying you must provide either a theme or themes and Shiki options, right? And what that means is our markdown renderer expects a Shiki theme whenever you start using code blocks, right? So what we're going to do is just hover over this render markdown and you can see how that would look. So pretty nice that we've got the documentation right there to just take a look at it. And what we're going to do is pass that in. Let's do an object, Shiki options theme, and then the GitHub Lite theme is great. It's a good default. Let's just go ahead and refresh. And I might fix that in a future update where it just by default uses the GitHub Lite theme. Let me know if you want your renderer to do that, or if you are a little bit more particular and you just expect it to want a custom theme. But you'll see there, if we refresh, we've got syntax highlighting right out of the box just like that, which is awesome. And this is using Shiki, like we talked about. Shiki is probably my favorite syntax highlighter out there just because it's so fast and lightweight. You can read through the documentation at shiki.style. It's a cool domain. Feel free to read through that if you want to manipulate like the theme colors and you want to change the transforms and all of that. It's a very robust solution for syntax highlighting. If we go to the themes documentation, you can see that we have other themes that we could choose from, lots of themes that we could choose from. One of my favorites is the Vitesse themes. And I think that is actually one of the themes from the creator of Shiki, but I just think it looks really clean, obviously fits in with the nature green aesthetic with Sapling. So there you've got Vitesse Light right there. You could add multiple, right? You could do themes as an object, and you could do Vitesse Light and Vitesse Dark if you wanted to, I believe. Actually, that might be for like setting up a highlighter with multiple themes. Let's actually see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it's an object of themes for light and dark. And if we inspect, you can actually look at this code. Shiki is doing all of this where it puts in the actual style tag of the elements. So it's very lightweight on the page as well. It's obviously very fast. You don't have to worry about speed being an issue there. And we've got, because we're using Tailwind, we've got the pros tag on our markdown. So you already have some decent styles with the pre-tags and everything. So feel free to play around with that. You can add different like backgrounds on the pre-tags. You could do light and dark theme support. If you search for dual themes right here, it has a little bit of information on how to do that with the light and dark. So right now, if I were to go back and I were to switch to my dark theme, it's still light, right? There's still some extra steps that you need to take to fix that. But yeah, this is just a quick one to talk about the syntax highlighting. What we can also add is copy code blocks, like copy code buttons on those code blocks. This is something that I've done in a previous video a long time ago, and really it's just copy pasted code, but I think it's a cool thing to show to someone that you can do this very simply. You don't have to overthink the copy button on all of your code blocks. You can actually make that very easily. So this is under our static files and then scripts. I put in a copycode.js. And this is a web component that's built with lit. And again, no build step. You can just load lit off of the CDN for something small and simple like this. And you can just use the lit core, right? And you've got copy icon, check icon. Those are just the SVGs inlined. A little bit of styles on there. And what this does, it actually finds the closest pre-tag, and then it looks for the code element inside of that pre-tag, and it will essentially just go and copy everything inside of that code element. So it's a very, I think, elegant and simple solution to copy code inside of code tags. But let's go ahead and do it. So we're actually going to use it. We're going to go to our slug page, and let's go to our head on that. And we're going to load this globally. And this is going to be script type module. We're going to import copy code. And then let's just go ahead and jump into our chat right here. We're going to do agent. I'm going to use the new Gemini. Let's see if Gemini can get this. We're importing the copy code custom element. Probably should reference it as well. What I want is for every pre-tag in the page to have the code copy code tag added in the top right corner. Let's see if it understands what we're talking about. And let me just make sure that we are exporting this correctly as well. Export class. Okay. And this is Gemini, right? Gemini just was, as of recording this, very recently added a cursor. We'll see if it can get it. What I probably will do is just jump back over to Claude 3.5. I've had this issue a couple of times where it doesn't want to edit the file. I think it's a cursor issue. It's not an issue with Gemini, but it just doesn't want to call the tool to edit. So let's just use Claude 3.5. Should get it pretty easy. That looks pretty good. So it's waiting for all the pre-tags to be loaded on the page before it actually runs this, which is great. Script copy code does not provide an export named default. Okay. That was what I was worrying about with how this was written on another site that I copied it from. Export default class. And if we go to our slug, there you go. That got rid of our error. And we've got a copy button. And this is very straightforward. This button literally just sits inside of that code tag. You can look at it too if you inspect. There's a little copy code element that sits inside of the, right next to the code tag. And when you click on it, that looks good. We're going to create a new file and paste. There you go. It copied what was inside of that. And we can prove it just like that. So yeah, syntax highlighting, code blocks. Feel free to look at the source code if you want to steal some of the ideas from that or implement it yourself. That's really all I had for this part. On the next part, we're going to talk a little bit more about scripts and islands. We're going to go through a little bit of like interactive elements with Sapling. I'm not quite sure exactly what element we want to do that with yet, but stay tuned. On the next one, we'll talk about Sapling islands and what those are. So probably the most exciting one, I think. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.